Tiny Glade. The serene cottagecore game that if you haven't heard of by now, you've probably been living under a rock. Or you're straight. I've been wanting to make a video on this like when it came out, because I've been following it basically since the announcement, and it's been out for 2 months. Anyway, it's a sandbox game that's all about building, tinkering, and letting your imagination wander, and it's not your typical city builder or strategy game. There are no goals, no timers, and no pressure, and it's kind of more like a digital Zen garden. I think like Townscaper, but with a hell of a lot more options. You don't need blueprints, resources, tutorials, you just grab and shape, and it's a very easy sort of learn as you tinker with it type beat. Walls automatically adjust to curves and corners, fences turn into gates, and ivy grows on structures really nicely to give everything that lived-in kind of like storybook charm, and it's perfect for when you want to unwind after a long day, or let your creativity flow without limits, and it's very much about the process. And the process has no rush, which means overworking looks great, but giving up halfway somehow still also looks great, which is awesome because I have ADHD, and if I don't hyperfocus on a whole town, I will do one wall and dip. It is a nice wall though. Thanks, Tiny Glade. It's sort of like doodling, except you don't need to be good. I put good in quotations here as this is subjective, to make things come to life. It's incredibly easy as the game takes what you put down and makes it pretty for you. Literally whatever you put down, like everything is fluid. You drag and the game responds in a really smooth way as you move. I always love a good use of Control Z too, so you can reshape and the game will rework your little wall to add something completely different to previous ones. Sometimes. I don't think the crabs fit the vibe, but that's just a me thing. What really pulls you in Tiny Glade is the art style. It's kind of like stepping into a painting. The textures are hand-drawn, the lighting feels warm and inviting, and the animations... Ooh, the animations are gorgeous. There's a range of different vibes and seasons you can build in, and each one has its own subtle differences in textures and colours that come together, as well as music, but I'll get onto that in a bit. I'm a bit of a nerd for the music. It's like the game is saying, yeah, we got this, just make it beautiful and we'll sort of help you out along the way. And the sheep wandering around? You can pet them, 1 point. They can't die, another point. Seriously, they are immortal little guys. Whatever you do, the sheep find a way to survive. You put a building on top, they stay inside the building. You try to drown them, they get a life ring and swim to shore. You remove a mountain under them, they get a parachute umbrella. There is no worrying about murdering the cute little guys in your game, and they don't even get in the way. Much. Then there's additions that make the game more than just a quick build thing. The screenshots opportunities with this game are one of the things that make it really stand out. The options for photos of your little diorama are pretty much endless, and I've spent as much time trying to get like 20 gorgeous screenshots of a cottage as I have building the damn thing. There are so many options that are easy to learn, and it is mostly learn as you play. There are even options to remove the texturing. I assume the purpose is to import into rendering software, but I am not smart enough to know how, why, where, or... The menu. I gotta talk about the menu. Each world has its own slightly modified music. It's the same tune, but even the instruments changed to fit the vibe, and I was probably unnecessarily excited when I saw this, and I spent a while just scrolling over them all again and again. But I am a good sucker for good music features in games. As well as if you're struggling to decide what to create, there's a daily theme along with the starter glade for you to absolutely bulldoze if you're me, or use as inspiration. The Halloween starter glade was a particular favourite of mine. I didn't even know that was a thing that you could do. There are very few cons, but they may just be because I'm an idiot. Most of the decor planted is random and there's not much plant variation. On all worlds you have flower or extra flower. It molds nicely into whatever you're doing, like everything else, but sometimes the variation would be nice. It's not really a major flaw, more of a personal preference kind of thing. The camera focus is a little tricky. It needs some shaking and moving around to get it to do what I want. You can see me struggling a lot in all of these clips to get it to focus where I want it, but that's probably a me thing. I also struggle to get walls to do what I want, like when I want 1 arch, not 3. I've put this wall down 20 times and I'm no longer relaxed, but most things can be moved by just kind of moving it around a little or adding another bit. So is Tiny Glade worth your time? Absolutely. It's all about time or losing sense of it. It's super relaxing, very little to learn, you can get lost in it for hours, but you also don't have to. It's easy to achieve something quickly and the game will always be there for you when you're next ready to go again, and it's not something that really gets boring. If you stop when you're bored and you come back to it, it's very much something you can do day after day. For example, I always use it when I get home from work, really nice to de-stress. It's still in development, so content-wise, it's not massive. But what's already here feels pretty polished and promising, and it's not meant to be over-detailed. The whole vibe is meant to be simplistic without overwhelming you with options. They're constantly adding new things, and they actually listen to the community. Take notes, every other game ever. We don't want new features before you fix the ones that are there already. But overall, it is a gorgeous game, and I am very much in love with it.